Looking into 2019, we've already talked about some of the issues that are on the table as the year starts. What do you see as the biggest challenges, foreign policy challenges, for the administration this year?
Well, I would flag two immediately. One is figuring out how the Syria withdrawal actually works. You know, I've been talking to Pentagon and State Department officials, and when a major decision is made with so little notice, it's very hard to work out any of the details. I mean, the immediate logistics are just how do we get the troops and their equipment out safely? But then you have more difficult questions, like I said, how do we protect the Kurds? If we were actually going to withdraw, there could have been a negotiating process where we know this is a major concession. This is something the Russians, the Iranians, the Turks desperately want. We should have gone to the negotiating table and said, what guarantees can you give us that you'll treat the Kurds better, that you won't do other things that are against American interests if we withdraw? But basically, when you put the concession out there as a certainty, you give up your leverage.
What's happened in Afghanistan in terms of talks with the Taliban?
They're not going very far. I think the entire premise that we can have peace talks with the Taliban is based on a flawed understanding of who they are and just how close they are to extremists, including Al-Qaeda. In part, the policy has been, well, if we get tougher militarily, we'll make them want to negotiate. But we've only shown that we're going to get weaker militarily. The Afghan government we support is losing more and more ground. So the more we continue to push for these talks without any basis of strength from which to negotiate, they understand that their long-term strategy, that they can wait longer than we can, that, you know, as the saying goes, we have the watches, but they have the time. They can just bank on that.
Well, back to the political front, or sort of the domestic implication of that, do those sorts of comments strengthen the president's decision, perhaps eventual decision, to withdraw U.S. troops, particularly at a more accelerated rate?
Right. So as sort of things get worse in country, it makes him less and less willing, I think, to endure sort of a losing endeavor. Why is he putting, to some degree, his reputation out there if things aren't succeeding? You know, he gave a big speech when he first upped the number of troops slightly, promising victory, saying he would reject this, the policy of his predecessor, which was set a timeline, make clear when you're leaving, and then the other side knows they can wait you out. Now he's basically reverting to that policy he once rejected.